Welcome back, crew. It's another day, and today the sun is shining. So it's starting to dry stuff out a little bit, which is to say that there is just less giant puddles around. There's still heaps of mud and whatnot, but we'll take what we can get. So we're just going to start off today. I've just gone and done a bit more shopping, got some oils and filters and stuff like that, so I can continue with that stuff later. First thing I'm going to do before we kick off for today is just have a pretty good clean up of the place. So at this point in the build, now with the motor in, there's a lot of this crap is all old intake pipes, old stuff, things that I'm not using. So all of that can go out of here, which makes a bit more bench space to put things that we do still need. The idea being that I want to try and clear at least one of these tables, hopefully both of them, so that I can use them for welding and fabrication later and just for generally storing stuff. I'm not going to film that because, yeah, that's just boring. I'm not going to do it. So after that, we'll get stuck back into finishing the wiring under the car and then probably jump into trying to sort this dump pipe and wastegate situation out. And yeah, we'll run with it from there. So pretty excited today, going to try and get a fair bit done because tomorrow won't be much on the car. I'm actually going to meet Max down at the coast and going to try and bring a whole bunch of stuff back from Shane. So if the weather's like this, I'll be pretty stoked because that'll make things a whole lot nicer. So I'll have a good cleanup and I'll get back to you soon. That is much better. Look at all that. Look how clean that is. Allocate a bunch of stuff to the bench. Now to get rid of all of this crap. And we will carefully dispose of that. Yeet! Double yeet! Long yeet! You sound like a duck playing a kazoo. So you think you're an earthling? Now you are! You killed my baby! You're more cracked than the line at Centrelink. You are older than I am, Mr. Gate. Get out of here, you senile piece of junk. You have been replaced, Mr. Spoolie Boy. Get the oh, hang on. Ah, that's a good Spoolie Boy. Better keep that one. Ah, yes, the old turbo timer. Now you don't get thrown out the door. There's a special place reserved for you. Good. The old drift handle. No need for you anymore. Huh. Guess they do really work. You can stay. Plenty of clean air out there, bud. Full throttle out the fucking door. Okay, so with that shit all cleaned up, just going to do a quick scrap metal run with a lot of this old crap that we've got here, those stuffed clutches and flywheel and stuff like that. It's about all I know of up here. It really can go at the moment or needs to go. Then when we get back, I'll try and clean up this corner. And yeah, I know what you're all thinking right now, okay? And let me just quickly answer that. When are we going to start on the 31? Soon. Soon as I finish cleaning up. We'll get to it. I promise. Let's go for a trundle. Here comes a jump. Stunts. Extreme wheelback. Oh no. We've lost a soldier. Look at all these rubbish! Righto, cleanup's all done. Sort out these benches, sweat the whole shit out. It looks so much nicer now. Had a good clean up this corner. So we're ready to get started. I'll just go get some stuff together. some tools and materials I know I need, and we'll get started back onto this nonsense. I did just realise before, when I was having a look, I done goofed up with these intercooler mounts at the bottom. They're too short. I mounted it on an angle like that, but didn't take into account the thickness of the silicon bend, and now it's hitting against the front Rio. So I need to make some longer mounts, space the cooler out enough to get a T-bolt clamp and the silicon bend on there. Not a major deal, just means I have to remake them. It's just a couple of bits of flat, so well, I'll do that later while I'm going on the fab work too. I'm going to do the wiring first because I really want to get started on the fab, and I don't want to do the wiring. So I need to stay motivated. I'll make sure I do the wiring first, and then I can do the fab. Otherwise, I'll do the fab and then I'll just keep postponing the wiring and put it off. So I need to do that. We'll do that first. Okay, got some materials together, a couple of 3510 lugs just to sort out that main cable. I'll have to check that starter cable. I think it's a 16. We should be able to make that work. Heat gun, crimpers, and some bits of heat shrink, and we're right to get started. Righto, so that's more or less the finished result, or what it's going to look like. Still a couple of things to tie up, like I'll tie all this up under here and crap like that. This bit here, I ended up having to set it right up high here, just to keep it clear of the wheel when it turns. Bit annoying that you can see the back side of that clip poking through in the engine bay, but it's pretty close to the overflow bottle. It's sort of not that noticeable. What I will do, because you can see the red through there, I will tape these up and tape them in black just to hide them a bit. But yeah, it's all looking pretty good. The only trouble I've encountered is that the starter trigger wire is about 100 mil short now. That's a pretty easy fix. I'll just extend it. The rest of the harness is fine. Got plenty of length coming back here. While I was under here, I took the chance to hook up the clutch line again, and I finished up this power steering return line. Just trying to tidy up underneath a bit. Get a lot of stuff done down here that I need to do. But it is raining again, and we got some pretty mad thunder before, so I think we're in for a bit of a wild afternoon as far as storms go. And the problem with storms like that is 9 times out of 10 here the power goes out. So yeah, I'm really hoping that the power stays on, because that's not a fun time. I'm more or less done with this wiring for now. I'm just going to more or less just leave this stuff alone for now. What I might do, I just need to make another earth cable, which I'm not going to bother filming, but it just goes on the bottom engine mount there as the factory one used to. I'll run it under here with this wiring, and it actually comes in here, and that's the back side of the bolt I welded in, and that's going to be the main earth point. I didn't really want to stick it in the engine bay like that. You will see it coming through here, but it's fairly way forward, so you won't see it standing in front of the car. You'd only see it if you're standing over near the passenger side. And I'm going to tape that black as well anyway, so it's not really going to be that intrusive. I just wanted it inside the engine bay so that it's accessible without pulling the guard off. Same with putting this post down here, and all this stuff is, it's all hidden fairly well, but it's not unserviceable. You can get it, all of this stuff, with the car complete and the front end on and everything like that, if for some reason something goes wrong, which is, you know, being a track car, I think that's pretty important. I don't like to sacrifice functionality purely for the sake of looks. The idea of this car is that it's going to look really pretty, really tidy, but it is a serviceable, usable car that you don't have to start stripping panels off it if you have a minor problem. So we're getting there, so I'll make up this earth cable and I'll drop it down and have a look. I'm going to pull that whole harness back out and probably tape it up anyway, and I'll extend that starter wire while it's out. So I only just put the camera down 30 seconds ago, dropped the car down to grab the wire out of the back to make that earth lead, and what do you know, fucking power's out. So yeah, I hate being right. Okay, update. Dad has just informed me that he actually received a notice for a scheduled power outage today. He just forgot to mention it. Quick update, while the power has come back on. During that time, I went and sorted out the radiator overflow tubes, more or less. They're sort of all sorted now. I did the earth cable, got it bolted on. Camera there, and got that up in there where it's supposed to go. I ended up pulling that loom out, extended this earth so it can go to an earth point somewhere around there, and also extended the starter trigger wire. So the loom's back in position now. It doesn't have to come back out. While it was out, I actually retaped it with fresh black tape, just so that it didn't have the overspray white look of it. You couldn't actually see it from above, but I wasn't too happy about it anyway, just because I think outside in the light you might notice it a bit more. So finally done with that. I'm really happy the power's back on, because we can actually do this fab work that I wanted to do, the dump and the gate. So I'll move on to that right now. So this is our little setup here. So screamer's sitting there, dump pipe comes down. So what I'm going to do, I'll chuck this little wing that goes on the box here, just to dummy it up to make sure that we're clear of that. I have left these wings off for now just to make it easy to access, like the power steering rack and things like that, but I will dummy that up just to make sure. And I've got a bit of an idea how I might be able to cheat here a little bit, so I will bring you with me and show you what I mean by that. So down here in the old shed, amongst all the junk down here. So this is my 6-boost twin scroll twin gate manifold for the 1J, and it came with these 2 gates and screamers. And if you'd seen how these were set up in the actual engine bay and the car they came out of, yeah, they're just, it was ridiculous. They had no room, they had no choice, but like, I couldn't figure out how these are supposed to go, because one of them, I think it must be this one, is actually supposed to go, yeah, one goes back like that, and the other one actually goes forward and out through the guard. Like, it's just, yeah, it's ridiculous. So anyway, I'm not going to use them in the VK, obviously. I'm going to make new ones, but what I'm thinking is I might be able to use one of these and just cut the end off it, and I can get away without having to make a whole screamer, if I can get one, to just bolt straight up. So I'll take these off and take them up, and we'll have a look at what we can do. Okay, this very rarely happens, so I'm definitely going to show you exactly what's going on. I've chucked the dump pipe on and put a couple of nuts on it to hold it in place. So that's its final position. I tried a couple of things with this gate. So this is that other screamer pipe, completely unmodified. And check this shit out. Up in there, on that gate like that. Boom. That wing's in there already. It's fine. You'd swear this thing was fucking made for it. I'm just going to cut it off right there at that weld that's just above my thumb. And presto. Screamer pipe for free, and takes me about 5 minutes to make it. And I'm happy to claim these welds. Pro fab, you know. So holy shit, when does that ever happen? So yeah, I'm just gonna chuck that on there and just I'll just say I made it, because who's gonna know any different, hey? No one. Just you and me. That makes my life so much easier. I'm stoked. Right, so what will be the final update for tonight? The power's just gone back out again, and apparently power's out in the entire town. It's not just us this time, so that means that something pretty major's happened. So I don't hold out much hope that the power's going to be back on tonight. So there's not much more I can do as far as welding and stuff goes without any power. So for now, I've got to go to the coast tomorrow, get a load of stuff from Shane's place. So for now, I think my time, while there's still a little bit of light left, I might try and get my trailer sorted out. So I'll sign off now. Okay, so after that previous attempted sign off, the power's actually back on. So it's game on for a bit now. I've started with this dump pipe. It used to have the bung for the old narrowband sensor there. I've cut that off. I'm just going to plate that over. I'm not going to bother trying to flush, make it and polish it up or anything like that, because this dump pipe, I'm just going to clean it up, basically just get it fairly clean. I'm going to paint it in black, and then I'm going to heat wrap the whole thing again anyway. So I'll make it as neat as I can, just a little patch over the top there to block the hole, and that'll be it. Then I am going to put in a bung for a wideband. I marked that spot while it was in the car. It's sort of fairly low, out of the way. I'm just going to put a bung in it, but at least the provision is there in future if we want to, or if the new owner wants to put a wideband sensor in it. All they got to do is just take the bung out, whack an O2 sensor in, and it's right to go. It's sort of something that we started doing just with every dump pipe and every exhaust now, is just always put the provision in. It's way easier to do it while you're building it than to put one in later and have to pull shit apart. So yeah, I'm sort of rushing through a bit. I'm trying to make the most of the power while it's on. So I'm not going to film too much more of this. I'm just going to get stuck into it. I am going to get the TIG out, so I will time lapse that, and you can have a look at my fucking attempts at TIGging again. I would MIG it for time constraints, but because I have to get the TIG out either tomorrow night or in the next couple of days anyway to weld up the catch can, I might as well just get it out, set it up on that bench and leave it for a little bit. So just noticed something walking past the door here and thought I'd show you. Australian viewers probably won't be too shocked, but some of the people from overseas, just want to give you an example of just some of the shit that we get here. So these are spiders, and the fuckers are everywhere. That there is a redback, but have a look at this fucking shit. Look at the size. It's hard to fucking tell on camera, but that's the scale you're looking at for a fucking redback. I swear to God, when I was a kid, redbacks were not that big. I'm sure of it. Yeah, those fuckers are everywhere, and they love that corner of the shed for some reason. I don't know why. But yeah, pretty outrageous when you're getting like redbacks that big. Fucking unreal. If you're an American viewer, I'm pretty sure they're the equivalent. I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure they're basically a black widow, I think is just the American name for the same spider. They might be slightly different, I don't know. But yeah, that's a flipping redback spider. His fucking abdomen's bigger than my pinky. It's bullshit. So we're back. We got a little setup happening. We are down to bingo gas. So I'm gonna try and weld my new O2 bung in first and hope there's enough gas. If I do run out, then I can just MIG the other patch on. I don't really give a shit about that one. The other option is that because this is an aluminium, I could just put the regulator on the Argus Shield bottle that's on the MIG and just use that. I'll see how we go. It might just be enough, I don't know. We're pushing it though. Basically the fuel light's on, if you know what I mean. Yeah, I'm finding it's a bit better on the lower amperage because it allows me to go just a bit slower, a little bit slower, and which is giving me a bit more control, a bit more time to get things right here. Because after all, I'm still very much a novice. I'll quickly talk about before I leave. So that's the patch that I just did. Overall not too bad. I am getting better. That was right there, right at the end where it just formed that hole. I was trying to keep it moving quick because I knew it was getting hot. But then that's the O2 bung. Again, it's not the most artistic TIG work in the world, but I'm fairly happy for an amateur. Also, while we're here, I'd like to point out that this was already on there when I bought the car. That's not our work. It's not my work. I know I'm no pro fabricator, but yeah, that's no. It's just whoever buys this car, whoever sees that later, that wasn't us. That was already there. Looking at the position, given we're on the car, the gate's just here. I suspect that at one point, the gate's there. I suspect that at one point that gate was plumbed back in. Someone's turned it into a screamer and has plated up that hole. So just want that publicly known. Okay, so just went and had dinner, and as I walked back into the shed, the fucking power went out again. So here we are, back in the same situation of having fuck all to do. Luckily for me, I did get this welded, so I can actually still progress a bit more because I can paint this by candlelight or torchlight, whatever you want to call it. I should get real romantic, set some candles up and just have a nice little romantic dump pipe to myself. But anyway, I'll try and paint it and get that on the car. And because I do have a battery grinder, I could potentially still do the gate or the screamer in the dark. Update, the power is now back on after like 5 minutes. So I was just getting set up to go paint in the dark and the power's back on. I am, however, keeping the head torch handy because I don't fucking trust this bitch at all. So I'll back to the original plan. I'll try and keep going. All right, got the dump pipe all painted up. Even though I'm going to heat wrap it, the reason I'm painting it is to try and combat corrosion. The problem with heat wrap is that it is basically a trap for moisture and corrosion, stuff like that. Don't know if you saw it before I cleaned it up, but like when I unwrapped it, the old heat wrap, it was just, yeah, it was pretty ugly underneath. I ended up cleaning it up completely on the wire brush while I had the chance when I was cleaning it up before I welded it. And it came up not too bad. So I've painted it just to try and combat the corrosion, and I'm gonna heat wrap it now. I'm just using the heater to try and bake that a bit. So heat wrap, soak it in water to install it. And the best way I've found is exactly what I'm going to do. I will set the GoPro up on a time lapse. It'll look a bit weird because it'll basically just me slowly walking towards the camera. I normally just clamp it in the vise, and you leave a certain amount off it and start with a piece back here and then just slowly walk it forward and wrap it. It's really, really good for something like this. It's a very simple shape. It's still only quite short, very easy to manage. This technique works great, and it gets a really nice tight wrap on it, and it looks good, it works well, insulates it properly, and everything is sweet. It's a lot harder when you get, I don't know, if you're trying to wrap something long, or if you have something that's really intricate. For example, I actually heat wrapped the manifolds on the Land Cruiser, as you might have seen in a previous video, or like over the course of looking at the Cruiser. I don't know if I actually filmed the process of wrapping those manifolds, but it was an absolute pain in the ass because I wrapped each runner all the way to the head and then the entire manifold all the way out. It was a massive pain in the ass. And I'm not looking forward to having to redo it when that stuff's just about done, which it is sort of getting towards the end of. It's starting to get really frayed, and all the fibre is starting to come out of it. It's not very nice. I'm really not looking forward to having to pull everything off and do that again. But anyway, back to the point at hand. I'm gonna wrap this dump pipe so that I can put it in the stupid car, and then I don't have to touch it again. It stays in there, and that's it. Job done.
Okay, I hope you guys can hear what I'm saying. There's no point pointing the camera at me, because what you are seeing here, this light, is from my head torch. And that means that the mother flippin' power is out again. So I'm back to working in the dark. Luckily I've done all the welding and shit that I need to do. So now we're up to waste gates. I've sorted out most of the fittings and block offs and such. Next thing to do is actually disassemble it though and install the springs, which I have in my hand. Get off. Sticky son of a bitch. So, I'm going to put both of these springs all up in there because we're going to be running big boy boost. Alright, so I'm going to try and do that now in the dark. I'm not going to bother to time lapse it or film it because honestly it's a waste of time. You cannot see a damn thing. You know what the worst problem is though? Now, because the power's out, there are no lights anywhere except for the one that is literally on my face. So you know where the bugs want to do? Do you know where the bugs want to go? In my face! Right here! Fuck off! Leave me alone! I'm trying to work! Giving me the shits! Fucking bugs. Righto, so after disassembling the gate, this is what we have. We've got our large outer spring already in place. We've got 2 and 3 springs. The general rule, get around about 7 psi per spring. So given that we have a goal of around about 20 psi, and I do have my manual controller, what I'm going to do is just put these 2 bigger springs in, and I'll leave this inner one out because we should be able, even if
What do you know?
It is raining like shit.
I'm sure you can barely hear me. For the record, I'm leaving the head torch on though. I'm not even taking it off because this is going to last like 10 minutes. Fuck that. So anyway. Okay, so my estimate of 10 minutes was pretty fucking optimistic! Yeah. Right, anyway. So yeah, point is, I'm just gonna put 2 middle springs in, I'll leave that one out. We should be able to get the boost we want with a boost controller and 2 flipping springs. Right. I'm gonna put this back together. I sometimes wonder what our neighbors must think. They're like, ooh, yes, a blackout. Finally, those fuckwits next door couldn't possibly make any noise on a night like this. Blackout was going to stop me from making a ruckus late at night. So here's just a little bit of knowledge when it comes to tail shaft. Something, when I did this tail shaft before, I actually completely forgot about it. If you've seen those videos during those late night shenanigans, something I completely spaced on is phasing. So your 2 uni joints. So just a quick explanation about that. That's obviously your uni joint there. So you've got the tail shaft output, and then you've got the tail shaft. Then you've got the top half as well. So what actually happens when you've got a uni joint that's on a little bit of an angle like that, the speed it rotates at is not actually constant. There's heaps of animations if you search for it online that'll show you exactly what I mean, but as the yokes, as they go around and the universal joint turns and lets the joint move, it actually goes through periods of increased and decreased motion. Overall your tail shaft speed's the same, but the actual, there are certain points where it's faster or slower. So when you put a tail shaft in, you have to make sure that all of the yokes are in phase. That is to say that this pin here, or this side of the tail shaft, is the same at both ends. So if they're out, say this one was out 90 degrees and the tail shaft pin was around that way, and it was out 90 degrees, you're going to have problems. What happens is, when they're in phase like this, the fast periods and slow periods in the tail shaft or in both unis happen at the same time as each other. So the overall tail shaft stays happy, just goes through it fast and slow, all cool, everything works like it's supposed to. But if you have them out of phase, say one's out 90 degrees, you'll have one end trying to speed up while the other's trying to slow down. And that obviously creates a lot of torsion, and it also causes some pretty bad vibrations. So just keep that in mind when you're doing the tail shaft. I actually had to pull this out and fix it. The other thing too, because this is a multi-spline in here, I couldn't actually get it to line up just by turning, trying to line up these 6 holes. It still wasn't right. I actually had to take that spline off and realign it on the spline to make sure that the bolt holes were going to line up. So what I ended up doing was picking the tail shaft, or the box yoke there. That pin lines up perfectly with one of the bolt holes. So you just spline it, make sure that one hole lines up with that, then you know that when you put your top half on, you've just got to line it up and it'll fit. So yeah, just a bit of a tip there, so that you avoid any potential driveline issues. It's just as important with a single piece tail shaft. Another thing to note, these particular tail shafts are pretty good because they've just got that, the center bearing or the center uni is a, I don't know how to describe it, but it's not actually a yoke so much, it's just a universal, it doesn't have that phasing issue. But if you just had a two-piece that had a normal yoke and uni in the middle, you have to make sure that all three of them are all in phase. And yeah, if you do that, you get your tail shaft angles right, you shouldn't have any problems.
Alrighty guys, obviously Rex spaced and just didn't film an outro for this video, but he did have me in stitches editing this thing. So big thanks to Rex for doing all this content and keeping this channel sort of going so much while I was at work for all these weeks. And hit like, smash like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers guys.